It took me 2 years to gain a chess rating of 2000 ELO, but today's video isn't about me. It's about you. By the end of the video, you will be equipped with the knowledge you will need to skyrocket your elo. Now, I'm sure most of the advice you've heard for getting better at chess is focus on tactics, build in opening repertoire, just do endgames. You've never ever really heard focus on middle games, have you? Well, I credit about 80% of my chess progress to just having a better understanding of middle games than my opponent. It's that simple. So today's video, we're going to be going over a game played by Harry Filsbury and Shigoran. I gained about 100 elo points in the same week of learning this game. This game has a gold mine of positional ideas for you to learn. Let's go. So Filsbury has the white pieces and Shigoran has the black pieces, and he opens up with the move d4. We see the move d5, we see c4 and knight c6. This is known as the Shigoran Defense. This guy had his own opening named after him. Knight f3 and now the move bishop g4. We see cd5, bishop f3. This is a really interesting line. It's where you take the knight here and then you take the bishop. Now, the opening isn't too important, but I'm going to be asking you some questions throughout this video. The first observation you will need to make of this position is what pieces have been exchanged. You have to mentally note to yourself, okay, I just exchanged a knight. When was the last time you ever played a game and made a mental note to yourself saying, okay, I just exchanged a knight? Have you ever just sat back and just gone, okay, I just exchanged a bishop? These are habits you're going to have to start building if you want to get better at chess. We see knight c3 and now the move e6. Why e6? To open up this bishop scope. Pay close attention. Now the move e4. Now, is e4 a good move? It looks good, right? A big center. But there is something in chess called overextending. Would it have been better for white here to play the modest move e3? No, but he goes e4. How can we punish this? Today we're going to have a complete masterclass in understanding your opponent's weaknesses and how to exploit them. So what we need to understand here is that this bishop is attacking this pawn, this knight is defending this pawn. Shigoran goes bishop b4. He's pinning this knight. Now we are threatening to take this. So we're developing our pieces whilst also carrying a threat with our moves. We're threatening something now. If white were to go bishop d3 here and defend this pawn, happy days. Well, then you blunder this pawn. So you can't do that. So you can't go bishop d3. And if you go queen d3, well, we can actually just go queen h4. There is no way to actually stop this because you can't go f3. And queen d3 just blunders to this pawn because we're going to exchange and we're going to take this pawn. For example, there's nothing you can do here. We just simply go queen e4. This is pinned. So just going back a bit, back to bishop b4, you cannot block like this and you cannot block like this. So you have to play the move f3. Now, your opponent, I'm sure your opponent has played a move like f3 and you know it's a bad move. You've been told by Benjamin Feingold, you've been told by chess masters never play f3, but you don't actually know why it's a bad move. Now, remember, the objective of the game is to checkmate your opponent's king. If your opponent's king's defenses are weakened, your chances of checkmating his king go up. So this move f3 is bad because it weakens the king's safety. These are things you have to understand. I would always know my opponent had a bad position, but I'll never know what to do with it. So now we actually understand why this is bad. So after this move f3, how do we apply more pressure? Here we see the move f5. And now we're really threatening to take here. And the same tactics apply. So after f5, white is left with a decision. He either goes e5 or he can take. If he takes, let me quickly show you. Say a move like queen e2 check. We go here and say a move like bishop d2. We just castle our king queenside. If he takes, that's all fine. Our position is absolutely fine here. So going back a bit, so the move f5 now, attacking this weakness, a very important concept. Now, if you take, we've got a very nice game of castling queenside. White plays the move e5. I want to ask you a question here. What is the weakness in white's position? Well, it is this pawn here. Why is it weak? Because it has no pawns that can defend it. This is a backwards pawn. Today, we're going to learn how to completely exploit this. We see the move knight e7 now. When there's a backwards pawn, you always want to try control the square in front of it. Why is that? If you don't control the square in front of it, your opponent can always exchange it off. So knight e7, very nice move. Here Filsbury goes a3, bishop a5, keeping the pin, bishop c4 attacking this pawn. And now we see just a really nice move. Notice how this bishop blocks this f6 square, and notice how this bishop is blocking the c pawn. A c pawn can be a great attacker whilst attacking your opponent opponent's center. It can be a great tool. A C pawn will be your friend if you want to attack your opponent's center. If your opponent controls the center, he has more options. He has a more likely chance of checkmating your king. So we notice that this bishop is blocking all of these squares for the knight and for this pawn. So he goes bishop d5. This cannot even be taken. If this is taken, well, then knight d5. This was not played in the game, by the way. I just want to show you. We are threatening to take here twice. So bishop d2. And now queen h4. Easy stuff, we win a pawn. So going back a bit, back to bishop c4, bishop d5, you can't even take this. We've just improved our position and you have to retreat. White tried to play the move queen a5, now c6, blocking this check, and now we're threatening c5. So there's a threat here, so this bishop has to go back to d3. Okay, what's weak in our opponent's position? This pawn. You've been sold tactics, tactics, tactics. If you want to get better at chess, you've got to start to understand how to exploit your opponent's weaknesses. So he goes queen b6. Let's add another attacker. And if you play a move like bishop e3 here, bishop b3 wins the queen. The queen is trapped. So queen b6 not only attacks a weakness, it also threatens to trap the queen. So now we see the move bishop c2, preventing it. Now, what move can Shigoran play here to stop his opponent from castling? Because if he castles, his position will be better. So he plays the move queen a6. You can't castle anymore because this queen will put you in check. It also threatens b5, winning the queen. But it is a threat in every single move, whilst he's also slowly improving his position. So we see the move bishop d1. This bishop has gone from c4 to d3 to c2 to d1. This is a masterclass. And now this d5 square is quite valuable. So he goes bishop c4. He wants to get the knight in. Now here white goes f4. The reason behind this is that black can also go f4. Same with like a3. Well, we can actually go f4 here, sacrifice a pawn, and use our knight to hop in. So kind of advancing a pawn to free up squares, free up mobility. Piece mobility is highly valued in chess. With the move f4, just stopping that sacrifice. Castle's queenside now, getting the king to safety whilst also attacking this pawn. But now bishop e3. Guess what move is played here? I'm gonna let you just guess. I have faith that you will find this move. How can we get our piece into the game whilst also attacking our opponent's piece, whilst also progressing our own position? Knight d5, threatening this and threatening this. This can't be taken because it's pinned, so we're threatening this bishop. So bishop d2. Try find another move that unleashes an attack on a pawn whilst also attacking a piece of higher value. The move knight b6, freeing way for this rook and attacking this queen. So improving the position whilst also attacking your opponent's position. Now queen c2. Finally, we can take this weakness. The whole time this was the weakness, and I've just been showing you how Shigoran has been exploiting this. You can implement this in your own games. Rook d4. Now rook c1. Bishop d3. The position is completely over, and after knight b3 and knight c4, even though Shigoran is only at one pawn, he is threatening to take this. Let's say he move like a3. He resigned here, by the way. Let's say he move like a3. Well, take this. And if take back, just go here. Check. Check. So there's some tactics there. When you have a strong strategic understanding of the game, tactics will just float in and out. It's easy. So anyway, after knight c4, that is the end of the video. I tried to teach you something new today. I'm trying to teach you strategic concepts because for me, those were the hardest things to learn. And you know, I never really had anyone to tell me exactly what I needed to do. And if you want to see more videos like this, like and subscribe. Peace out.